Welcome to the new members. Welcome to DSCTIU. I hope that you learned something here. And how many of you know what is cloud? Or you have heard the term somewhere? Like, can I get a response in the chat that how many of you have heard the term cloud? Like, not the cloud that gives rain, the cloud technology. Okay, so two people. So, can you give your definition of cloud? Or what do you think that cloud is? Remote servers that could process data. The cloud is just another computer which is made available to us through the internet, a computer system that processes data, virtual computer resources through server. Okay, let me share the screen now. Okay, we can access data and perform various web services. Machine somewhere, work somewhere else. Online storage hosted by some specific companies, right? Is my screen visible? Okay, thanks.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you for the response. Okay, then hello everyone. Welcome to Kickstart to 30 Days of Google Cloud. So I think you all have heard about this program, right? Like, can I get a? I can't check the chat now, so it will be better if someone responds, unmuting himself or herself.
Yes, ma'am, we have heard about it before.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So can you guess this game? What game is this?
Pokemon Go.
Okay. So, like, how many of you have played this game? All
I
right.
I don't play, ma'am.
Okay. But you have heard about it, right?
Yes, ma'am. I have heard about it.
Okay. So, we can definitely say that this game is a very popular one. So, when the developer made this game, so here the team planned that at most 2x players will play the game, and there were some specific servers in some zones. And then when the game was actually released, it was seen that 50x players downloaded and played this game. Like, this game became so popular. And like, how was it possible that when the makers planned that 2x people will play, but in reality 50x people played it? So how was it possible to manage the load to provide so many uh, data centers? So this was possible due to Google Cloud. The game makers made the game, but the internal things like where to put the servers according to the demand, like if in a particular place the demand increases, increasing the number of servers, and if somewhere the demand is less, so shedding the unwanted servers. So all this was maintained by Google Cloud. So here is the link bringing Pokemon Go to life on Google Cloud. So if you want to know more about it, you can go there. So what is cloud? And frankly speaking, I am also a newbie in cloud. So if I make some mistakes, so please pardon me. So according to me, I have a Gmail account. I am using it in my laptop. I'm using it in one of my phones. And suppose I have one or two more phones, I'm using the same account there also. So how is it possible that I am accessing the same account in multiple devices? So this was possible because of the cloud technology, because the account is not stored in a local device storage. It's stored in the cloud where multiple devices can access it at the same time. So suppose if my old phone gets damaged somehow and I buy a new phone, I can get the account and all the documents, pictures related to it in an what can I say? In the previous way only. So nothing will be lost in this process. So there are three service models of cloud. So like cloud can be used as a infrastructure as a service. It can be used as a platform as a service, and it can also be used as software as a service. So like what are these? So the first thing, infrastructure as a service. Suppose if I'm going to buy a laptop, I see the configurations that what is the storage, what is the RAM, then about the graphics, and I also plan that if what OS I'll be opting for, that I'll be opting for Windows or Linux, etc. So that's my own laptop, and I want complete control over it. So in this way, if I want to launch something in the cloud, if I want to launch a system in the cloud, then I also should have the power to completely operate it, to have complete control over it. So that I can manage the compute resources, the networking, the firewall rules, and whatever is there, I want complete control over it. So infrastructure as a service gives me that power, like it gives me the compute resources, and we can have complete control over it. And next is PaaS, like platform as a service. Suppose I want to make an e-commerce application, and I have made it, and now I want to deploy the app. So there are two options. One, I can host it in my PC, but there are certain limitations. So like I have planned that I will make a system in the cloud, and I will deploy this, and then so that all the customers can access the app. But what if suppose my PC breaks down, or the infrastructure where I have hosted the app, it crashes? Or suppose if I have initially planned for 100 users, but suddenly this app became popular, and suppose 300 users want this. So how can I manage this scaling thing? That if the demand increases, we have to make changes accordingly so that the app doesn't crash, and the users can use the app flawlessly. So this is the magic of cloud. So we will only deploy the app and all the internal things, like suppose the user demand, that will be managed by the cloud team itself. And then the third option is software as a service, SaaS. So we all know the Google applications which are so famous, like Gmail, Photos, WhatsApp. They have billions of users. And suppose a Gmail account, you have multiple devices, and in so many devices, and all the devices are suppose connected to the same Gmail account. And like how does and a mail has come, so it will be coming to all the devices linked to that account, and there are billions of users. So in a minute, like crores of or millions of mails are being sent and received simultaneously. So how does this thing happen, that the demand is so much? So how is it possible to um, how is it possible to meet these demands, and what can I say, to meet these demands, to give the user a flawless user experience? So this is possible only because of Google Cloud, and here the role of software as a sub service will come to play. And here you can see that application data, application logic, integration with other Google services. So the Google Cloud provides various features like cloud storage, cloud data store, cloud bigtable, cloud SQL, cloud spanner. So all these are features which are provided by the Google Cloud. So, like now, the 30 days of Google Cloud is starting, and you will be getting access to the Quick Labs to get to know more about cloud. So, you can explore it and you can find out a lot about it. So, officially, welcome to 30 Days of Google Cloud program. So this program will give you the opportunity to know more about cloud, to make a career in cloud technology. And if you complete the milestones properly, you will get some exciting rewards as well. Okay, so there are two tracks in this program. First one is cloud engineering, and there are six quests. And this year, a new addition is you have to, at the end of the quest, there will be a challenge lab, and you have to complete that challenge lab. Those who have used Quick Labs earlier, they know it, that in a lab, we have to perform a specific task, and what are the steps needed for that task are already given in a documentation, and we read it and we follow the instructions accordingly to perform that task. But in this challenge task, the thing is, in that challenge lab, there will be no instructions. Whatever you have learned in the full quest, you have to apply there in the challenge lab and perform that task. So there are six quests in the cloud engineering, and in the second track, data science and machine learning, there are six quests as well. And the first one is common in both, like getting started, create and manage cloud resources. This quest is common in both the tracks. And here are the milestone rewards, that if you complete the cloud engineering track, you will get a t-shirt, the Google Cloud sticker pack, along with a participation certificate. Similarly, in data and machine learning track, if you complete it successfully, you will get a t-shirt, Google Cloud sticker pack, and appreciation certificate. And if you complete both the tracks, then you will get two t-shirts, the sticker pack, a laptop bag, and the participation certificate. And you have to complete it within 31st October. So now to know more about cloud, uh, let's go to our next session, Kubernetes engine in Google Cloud Platform, which will be taken by Sumitra Bagchi ma'am. She is the cloud strategy and facilitator at GDG Cloud Kolkata. She is also the WTM ambassador in Kolkata, and currently she is working as the lead web developer at Engage Online. So, ma'am, now it's all yours.
Thank you, Shohili, for this nice introduction. Am I audible clearly?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
madam.
Yes,
We
ma'am.
can hear you. Good evening,
Okay,
madam.
thank you. Good evening to you all. And do you already Shohili has given all the information, most of the information I can say that about cloud. So now she's telling about that how Pokemon Go manages uh, these load balancing, how they scale up and scale down when the things when we need actually. So this is the thing when we need this Kubernetes engine, and Kubernetes manages all these things. Okay. So do you have any idea about what is Kubernetes and all these?
No,
If you
ma'am.
can write. Okay. And if you have any idea about what is the containers, so what role of the container in the Kubernetes engine? Do you have any idea? Have you heard of
No, ma'am.
Docker containers and all these things?
No, ma'am.
No. Okay. So the term container, what is this term container? In our general life, we know the containers, right? The containers keep things, right? In our houses, we have containers. What you can say? We have containers and we keep different kind of things in different containers, right? In the same way, if we go to the technology field, then these containers will keep our codes in different containers. And Docker containers is the most popular container, I can say, and they very well match with Kubernetes engine, and we can keep our code as a form of images into these containers. Okay, and these containers, uh, many more containers bunch together to and work with Kubernetes engine. So now I'm going to share my slide with you all, and let me know if you can see my slides. Okay. Are you able to see my slide?
Yes, ma'am. We can see it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we are uh, in the Kubernetes in Google Cloud. Okay. So this is Kubernetes. What is this Kubernetes? Kubernetes is our container orchestration platform. What is orchestration? Means we have there are too many containers running. Shahili has told that Pokemon Go, there where they build it in such a way that there should be uh, 200 user can play at a time, but in when it's time come, then they know that there are 50 times more users are using Pokemon Go and they are playing this game, and at that time the things crashed. So what would happen that these things not happen? So they were creating the replicas of the containers, and these containers actually put into some pods, and these they are creating the replicas of these containers so that they can manage this load balancing. Okay, so we are using Flipkarts and Amazons. Do you know these platforms? We are using these applications every day in our life, and during this puja we are going to shop with these things because we are in the COVID situation right now. If you can unmute yourself and say.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, we are using because
Yes, ma'am.
but we find that in weekends when we have more time, we go and search for more products into these kind of applications, right? So it might happen that there is a huge rate of users coming into that application. So it may, if there will be not proper load balancing facility, then what will happen? These softwares will break, and it sometimes we face like some during the platform which the result announcing websites got crashed because at a certain time the more users come into those platform to view their results, right? The web servers get slow. These things happens, right? We have noticed. But if there will be some proper load balancing things, these things will not happen. So this this Kubernetes platform actually performs this whole thing, and Kubernetes is the product of Google, and Google Kubernetes engine was designed by them for and this this Kubernetes engine is now mostly fit with all the cloud platforms like Google Cloud. It is also fit in Microsoft Azure and in even on AWS also. Okay, so what is Kubernetes? And Kubernetes is it's nothing but it's a portable and extensible open source platform. So everyone can use this Kubernetes platform. And since we are having these quick labs access, so we are going to leverage the access of the Kubernetes engine into our Google Cloud platform. Okay, so this Kubernetes is commonly known as K8s, and it's fully supported by Docker. Even the Docker containers, there are instead of Docker container, you can use also the Rocket containers. And these Rocket containers are also supported by Kubernetes. So why we do need Kubernetes and what can it do? It can be thought of as a container platform, and you can think as a microservices. Like you all are students, right? May I have some answers from your end?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. Yes.
So you all are students. You are very less familiar with. I think so that you are very less familiar with programming. How? What are the technologies you are able to know? May I know, please, one by one?
Ma'am, C, Java,
Mm-hmm. Okay. All this,
HTML,
yeah.
QL.
HTML is the web technology because we write our front ends in the HTML and the back end is can be Java, can be PHP, okay, can
Yes,
be
ma'am.
ASP and
QL.
okay, and Python, anything or else it can be. So we whenever a big in a company, when you will go to any company or any industry, you will find at very early stage when I started my career, there were no concept of microservices. Okay, so these are if I tell all the histories, then it will be a long session. So I'm just telling you what is microservices. We are creating a whole bunch of software, and there are many things like a user thing is there, the payment gateway is there, the product is there, right? And a cart is there. So all these are kept in a separate bunch and as a microservices. Micro means small services, as we can kept it 4 and 5 microservices, and these microservices talk with each other with some APIs. Okay, and if any microservice will fail, others will be there, and it can be it can actually heal itself if anytime it get fails. Okay, so we can thought of a Kubernetes as a microservice platform also, and it's portable from cloud platform and a lot more. Means you can if you are deploying a Kubernetes service into any of the cloud platform, right, like in you are doing in GCP, right? Now you can migrate it to in other cloud platforms also. If you do this 30 days challenge, you will find many labs over there like Anthos lab and all these. So you can find that you can, if you go migrate from one cloud platform to other cloud platform, your things will be there, and you can just migrate from one cloud platform to another cloud platform. There will be no, this is portable, like Java is a portable language, right? In this way. Now I'm telling about you about Docker and every time. So what is Docker? Docker is also an open source developing software, and it can be, if we are developing any Dockerized container, then it can be shipped and run any application. Okay. So, and even Docker separate your application from your infrastructure and treat your infrastructure like a managed application. And is Docker is if you are not familiar with Docker, just heard the term Docker, and in future if you get any time in at your home, please go through what is Docker. Okay, because what is happen in our system, suppose I have Python 3.5 installed in my computer. Okay, someday in my office I need some project that should be done in the latest version of the computer, or it's backdated computer Python version, that like a 3.0. So what I will do, I have to otherwise install that 3.0 once again after uninstalling the 3.5. But what if in my system I have built some program with using 3.5, right, Python 3.5? If at that case Docker images come into play, we can download the Docker images, and we can use the as a Docker image 3.0, and we can use the Docker image at that time. Okay, so this is we can write our code using those images. So Docker container can be directly used in Kubernetes. So we can create our Docker container, whatever version of the software we are using. Like if we are using the latest version of PHP, what is it? It is PHP 7. But what if the program is written in PHP 5.6? So we have to upgrade the whole, instead of upgrading the whole program, we can just pull the PHP 5.6 from the Docker Hub, and we can use and we can deploy our project into PHP 5.6. This can be done with the help of Docker, and Docker is very useful in case of Kubernetes, and it matches very perfectly with Kubernetes. So when you install Kubernetes, the 6 things installed automatically with your system. One is the API server, etcd server. Third one is the kubelet service. Okay. Fourth one is the scheduler. Fifth one is the controller, and container runtime. So this API server directly talks with the user. Through some command line tools, those are kube control tools, and we have to write our own code, and we can talk with this Kubernetes nodes. Okay, Kubernetes master node. This etcd server actually have some key value store, is used as a key value store, and we can have all the information in these etcd server, and it communicate with the master node in the Kubernetes. Okay. And kubelet services are the services which we use in Kubernetes, like running a pod, stop the pod, how to scale those pods, and all these. And controller manages scheduler actually manages all these, when to do this and when to not do all these things. A controller actually is the brain of this Kubernetes and it manages everything. And container runtime is also do in the Kubernetes engine. Now, this is the main architecture of Kubernetes engine. So you can see the API is the first most part, and it is interacted with the user interface through some command line interface. Okay, so this API interacts with the Kubernetes master. Okay, these Kubernetes masters actually in directly connected with some nodes. And what is nodes? These nodes contain various kind of pods, and within these pods there will be containers, different kind of container. It might happen that you are not able to understand everything. Is this happening with you all? Be very frank, you can say like this.
Yes,
Is
ma'am.
this
Yes,
happening?
ma'am.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
So, is this? Are you feeling like this is out of box? These things are out of box. Be frank.
Somehow,
And in
Some
future
something,
also,
something,
if yeah,
yes,
tell me.
actually, to some extent,
something.
it's like happening. Like I'm
Mhm.
learning something new and all.
Yeah, you are learning something new because every day we are learning something new. Even I have even not. I can say that I am the very much efficient in all these things. I can do by my own and all these. This is not the case. Just what we are doing over here, we are sharing our knowledge you with each others, right? So if you are feeling any difficulty, if you will feel any difficulty in future also, you can contact me. If I found that I can help you all, I can do it. Okay, because these things are the things like when you will do your hand dirty with these things, then it will be more understandable, like we do in case of codings, like right in our childhood you learned, like in schools you have learned C++ and Java and all these things, right? So whenever we do your hand dirty in these things, then only you can learn things. Only
Ma'am,
hearing,
but
by
ma'am, how
hearing
can
things,
I contact with you if I face any
you can
difficulty in
you
future?
can find me in LinkedIn, in Twitter also. You can find me over there. And since you are having this 30-day challenge, so you can learn over there also through Quick Labs. In the Quick Labs, it is so well managed over there that every step is there. What is doing every line, what is doing over there, every step is there. Everything is written over there.
Ma'am, do
So
you
you
have a
can.
LinkedIn account? Do you also have a LinkedIn account?
Yes, I have a LinkedIn account. You can contact me over there also.
Okay,
So,
ma'am.
and we have a community also. I'm the member of the Google GDG Cloud community, and you can go to the community also. I will discuss it into the later, in last of this session. At last of this session, okay. So, without wasting much time, I'm just telling you all these things that we can think of this Kubernetes architecture like. The first is the user interface, the API, which is interacting with the user through some command line interface, CLI. Okay. The middle part is the Kubernetes master. So this Kubernetes master containing scheduler, controller, ETDC, ETDC store, and all these. Okay. Now comes this master actually connects with the Kubernetes nodes. These nodes, what is these nodes? These nodes are having the pods inside them. Okay, now let's move to the next slide, then you will understand more. So I told you the about this Kubernetes master. Okay, so this Kubernetes master is having a API server, one scheduler, one controller, and one etcd. So etcd storage. This can be think of as a storage. Okay, so these four things remains in the Kubernetes master. Now this is the nodes. Okay, Kubernetes nodes. So these Kubernetes nodes, there can be 1 to n number of nodes, right? there can be n number of nodes in a Kubernetes uh, Kubernetes, this last part, this in this last part, okay? And these nodes may have more than one pods, and these pods actually contain the containers, and those are the those can be Docker container or can be a Rocket container. So the load balancing comes here. So suppose when uh, in uh, in Saturdays and Sundays, Flipkart and Amazon got more customers, and what if they build their application in such a way that only 100 customers can accommodate at a time, at a single time? Their system will break, right? But if they use this kind of container orchestration system, right, it can be anything. But since we are here learning the Kubernetes one, so I am telling you about Kubernetes. So what if at that time they thought that there will be 100 customer at that particular time, then but there are 1,000 customer at that time. So what if this will happen? Their system is going to crash, right? But if we use this kind of orchestration platform, they will actually replicate. Okay, they will actually replicate these pods and create different pods, and the users will suppose one pod can accommodate 100 users, another pod can accommodate another 100 user. In this kind, the program is written in such a way that when this kind of load will come, just replicate the pod and make the more pods. So if there will be any human intervention over there, then human have to sit over there for 24/7 when the traffic is coming, when the traffic is low, in this kind of thing. But with the help of these orchestration platform, we can do it, we can replicate it automatically. We can write the codes for that, and with some few scripts we can manage all these things without any human intervention. Am I are you able to understand what I am going to what I am telling?
Yes,
ma'am.
So are you able to understand how Kubernetes is working? Is it understandable?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So I'm just moving to the next slide. So the master node, what this master node is doing, exposing the API, scheduling the development, managing the overall cluster. Okay, these things I told you earlier. Now, what these worker nodes, right? The master node I told you, the master node actually communicate with these worker nodes. Okay, so these are the worker nodes. These are the worker nodes, right? And this is the master node. This is the Kubernetes master, which one is the master node, and this is the Kubernetes node, which is the worker node. They actually worker node, like in a beehive, we have a honey bee, queen bee over there. We can think of her as a master node, and there will be some worker who actually go outside and collect honey from and come and do all the things. So we can think as a worker nodes. Okay, like now in the worker nodes, what we do, each node run on container runtime. It can be Docker or Rocket containers, having an agent that communicate with the master, and they have an agent that communicate with the master. What to do, when to do, they actually communicate with the master. Like everything in any company, every worker communicate with the upper level. No, there will be some manager. These manager actually communicate with the people who those are under them, right? And these manager actually communicate with the higher level authorities also. So they are the middleman who will communicate with these two kind of peoples, right? So these worker nodes having an agent that communicate with the master also. Now, what these each node contains. Okay, this components and why this what they do. They logging, monitoring, service, discovery, optional add-ons if their needs acts as a workhorse for master. Workhorse for master. Okay, they are working very hard for the master. And what is this pods? Collection of containers, nothing else. Pods are the collection of container, different kinds of container. Like uh, uh, in a web development, what kind of softwares we use? Do you have any idea? Have you ever developed any website or all these things? Do you have any idea? Can anyone tell? Can I get any feedback from you because I am not able to view the chats? Hello? Am I audible?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Yeah, I'm audible. Then can you tell me, we know websites. Okay, so what are the technologies are required in to develop a website?
HTML, CSS, and JavaScript.
JavaScript, and this should be hosted somewhere, right?
Yes, ma'am.
These
For
are the
backend, it is
languages that
PHP. We will use PHP or SQL or MongoDB, etc.
yeah, we should have some DB server. Like then, in respect of server, what we need, we need an server like Apache, Tomcat, and all these, right? We
Yes,
need
ma'am.
a PHP backend server to write our codes, right? We
Yes,
need some database server also, right? Right.
yes, ma'am.
So these, there are three kinds of server. They are coming. They are actually talking with each other. So the similar kind of like PHP server, the Apache server, and the database server, the MySQL server. We can think of these three as different kinds of containers, right? And these three different kinds of containers can be bunched together to build a pod. Okay, so suppose we can suppose that my sumitrabakchi.com is hosted somewhere in a container, in a pod. Okay, so suppose at the on Sunday there is a huge crowd, and my pod is getting replicated. I wrote some code over there that on Sunday replicate it according to the load. Okay, so these pods with the containers, they are going to replicate itself. So they are going to actually creating replicas automatically. So these the similar kinds of containers kept into a pod. Okay, so the pods are collection of containers, server as K8s core, sharing some content of resources. Okay, scaling by creating replicas set at runtime. Now, okay, so Docker has its own containers orchestration platform, like it is called Docker Swarm, and what we are learning today is this Kubernetes. This is also a container orchestration platform. So, but there is some difference that why we use Kubernetes, why we use Docker Swarm. There are too many thoughts, and somebody says that no, Docker Swarm is good. Somebody says Kubernetes is good. Frankly speaking, I am not very much sure which one is better, and I cannot suggest you no go for Kubernetes and go for Docker Swarm. I cannot say like that, but there is some limitations in both the platform orchestration platform. In case of if we think of as an installation and cluster configuration, that Kubernetes complicated and time consuming. Kubernetes is complicated and time consuming, but in case of Docker, it's easy and faster. If you go to for GUI, in case of Kubernetes, GUI is available, and in Docker Swarm, it is not available. So as we feel that GUI is more user friendly in my case, so I found Kubernetes. If in case of GUI you will tell, then I find that Kubernetes is more suitable. But if you work in these fields in future, then you will find your own definitions, which is better and which is not. Okay. And in case of scalability, Kubernetes can scale up is slow compared to Swarm. Okay, but guarantees stronger cluster state. Okay, but in case of Docker Swarm, scaling up is faster than Kubernetes. Load balancing requires manual service configuration in Kubernetes, but in provide and in Docker Swarm provide built-in load balancing techniques. In updates and low rollbacks, when we update and rollbacks, suppose we have done some update and we want to roll back the things whatever there in one step earlier, then process scheduling to maintain service while updating. It's schedule the process and it's progressive update in case of Docker Swarm. And are you able to see my screen yet?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. In case of data volumes, only shared with the containers in same class in data volumes in Kubernetes, and in Docker Swarm can be shared with any other containers. And in logging, in case of logging and monitoring, built-in logging, and only third-party monitoring is there in case of Docker Swarm. Okay, these are the difference, but I cannot say you that Kubernetes is better or Docker Swarm is better. But if you will work in future with these things, then definitely I can say that you can come into your conclusion and you can create your definition of which one is better and which one is not. And so what is the advantages of Kubernetes? As I told many times, that scaling up and scaling down is very easy in case of Kubernetes. So Kubernetes can speed up the development process, providing self-handling. It can self-handling it can replicate itself whenever there will be load balancing things is there, when they require scale up and scale down. This can be done automatically. And since it is open source and since it is a Google product, we can rely it and we can even use it, because the things which are tech cost from us is we are actually avoid those things. As if we are a student, then we do mostly. Okay, so if we are these things are open source, then we actually do our hands dirty into these things. Okay, it makes a better use of hardware to maximize resources, and it helps us to package up applications and deploy them on Kubernetes with basic Docker knowledge. So these are the advantages of Kubernetes. Now this is for my slides, and I'm going to show you some hands-on lab on Kubernetes, but it will be a very basic lab, like about Docker. So have you ever done anything on Quick Labs before? How many of you have done?
I have done.
Okay, you have done, right? So before that, I'm just going to tell you something about that. We are going to celebrate the GDG, our GDG community is going to celebrate DevFest India on 2020 on 16th of October. So this is the link, gdg.community.dev. Go there and register for these 3 days. And I think you will enjoy a lot, and you will learn many things over there. There will be 3 tags. There will be cloud, there will be ML, there will be Android. Any track you can, the track you are in, you like the most, you can go for that, and you can register over there, and you can watch these 3 days program, and I think you will be benefited from there. And this is our new community URL, because the things we are in Meetup, now the things are moving into from Meetup to the GDG Dev community dev platform. So this is the link. I will share these links later, and you can go there and register yourself into, because if any new update or any new session will come, you will be automatically then informed by these sessions. Okay. Now I'm moving to the quick labs part. Still my screen is visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So if you will see that this is Kubernetes in Google Cloud Platform. So there are too many labs. Since these labs are being done by me, there are checks. And after doing any lab, completing the labs, you will, all the labs in this quest, you will earn this badge. You can see in the right hand side the she gear icon, this Kubernetes
Yes,
badge.
ma'am.
Yeah, so you will earn this badge and you can use it into your online profiles, so that that will add some added advantage to your profile also. So our first lab will be introduction to Docker. Then there will be Kubernetes engine quick start, orchestrating the cloud with Kubernetes, managing deploying using Kubernetes engine. All these 6 labs will be are there. You have to earn this badge, you have to complete all these labs. And what will happen, everything is in this lab is actually mention what to do, how to do, and how to do. Okay, so in this lab we are going to learn how to build, run, and debug these Docker containers, and how to pull, because these Docker containers are hosted into the Docker Hub. So how to pull these Docker images from the Docker Hub, and or in the Google Cloud Registry, and how to push these Docker images to the Google Cloud Registry. So this is a full 1 hour lab. I'm not sure very much the either I am able to complete this lab with you all. But if you will go to these labs, into the quick labs, when you get the credits to use this quick lab, then there will be every steps over there, and you can use these, every documentation is there. You can read those documentation and you can complete these labs, and you will learn something. Okay. And
Ma'am,
yeah, tell me.
ma'am, can you please share what is Kubernetes slide once again?
uh, yes,
I
sure.
I have to take photo.
Yes, yes, sure.
Ma'am, what is Kubernetes slide?
I can share these slides with the Techno India team also, so that they can share with your registrant. Can you do that?
Okay, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. I can do that.
Yeah, I can share this slide with you all, and you can actually you take everything, because we are running out of time, I think. What do you think?
Yes, ma'am, you can send the slide to me and I can send it to the interested participants.
Yeah, yeah, I will share definitely with you all. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. I'm just moving to the quick labs part then. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
So to if you are new to the quick labs, then I am telling you that from the very first step, how to use this quick labs account and how to proceed in these quick labs. Okay, so first you have to start your lab. Use your credits if you will find some credits from there. It takes some time to provide you lab resources. By the time it is happening, I'm just giving you some introduction. Yeah, it's open. Open Google Console. So you have to log in over there, not use your personal Gmail account to log in into this Google Console, because there is some username that you have to use.
Sorry to interrupt, ma'am. Ma'am, but can you please share the quest link?
Quest link. Yeah, I can share you the quest link. Yeah.
Right, ma'am. Even I haven't received.
Yeah. So did you receive the quest link?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So are you able to see things? So
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
now I'm going to shine in over there, and the password will be given over there. This is, and just paste it over there and log in there. And this is your project ID. So it reflected here if you log in into this Google Cloud platform. Don't give your phone number and email address, because this account is for 1 hour only, and this the time left is 57 minutes. Okay, so this account is going to destroy after this time. This is a temporary account. So those who are new to this Google Cloud platform, you can see this is the dashboard of Google Cloud platform. This is the navigation pane. Okay, and this is the dashboard. Every services are there in the navigation bar. You can see, if you can click into these 3 lines, you can see all the services listed over there of the Google GCP. Okay, now I'm moving to the Cloud Cell. This is the active Cloud Cell icon. If you click into there, your Cloud Cell will open. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes,
thank
ma'am.
you. Thank you. Because we are in virtual meetings, so it might happen my internet gone and all these things. If I'm not hearing from you, then I'm thinking that are you audible? Am I audible, or is internet is there or not? Okay, so this is the problem with this kind of virtual meet. So if you can see your Quick Labs, whatever the GCP project ID, it is there. This is your project ID. Okay. Now, and when you are in certain lab, do not deviate from the lab instructions. Do not try to do other things in these labs, because then you will be tracked, and you will not be able to do the other labs otherwise. Okay, so whatever the instructions given here, only follow those instructions. So the if you can since we are in this now Cloud Cell, now there is the gcloud auth list. Gcloud is the command line, like we do in DOS, like, right? So this is the command line command for gcloud in GCP. So this auth list will actually list your project. So it needs authorization. When you authorize, then it will list the account name, like this is your account name, you are authorized for this. Now gcloud config list project, so how many projects are running at this moment with this account, it will show you. So I'm just going to copy things so that we can cover up the time. So this is the quick lab project which is associated, and we are working into this project associated with this account. Now we are going to pull this Docker container from the hub. So open up Cloud Shell and enter the following command to run a hello world container to get started. This is the container which we are going to run. So read every line. Read every line, you will get your answer. What is there? Okay. So we are going to run our first hello world container. Since this container is not in this cloud platform, this is blank. So it is going to pull these things from the Docker hub. Okay. So you can see these things are there. To generate this manager, Docker took the following steps. The Docker client contacted the Docker daemon. Okay. The Docker daemon pulled the hello world image from the Docker hub. The Docker daemon created a new container from that image, which runs the executable that produces the output you are currently reading. Okay. Then Docker daemon streamed that output to the Docker client, which sent it into your terminal. So everything is there. You have to give your time, and if you have to read things, how this Docker things is running and how it is happening. Okay. You are very lucky actually that you are getting these things. You are actually able to learn these kind of things. Even you are able to hear these kind of things is happening within these communities. At our time, we didn't have these kind of things. Any technology we have to learn, we have to go to the some institute, and there we have to pay some money, and then we get something. But with the help of these kind of communities in your colleges, in outside your college, you are very lucky that you are at least hearing these kind of terms. Okay. So just use these opportunities that you are having in your life. So it is very useful actually. Okay. So thus we have created a hello world container into, and we pulled this container into our client machine, right? And this client machine is also hosted into the Google Cloud platform. Okay, this is the client machine, but it is hosted in Google Cloud platform, and you are the user of this client machine. Okay, so now how many Docker images are running at this moment? So this is the command Docker images. So this will tell you how many images are running at this moment into your container, into your client. Okay. So just now you have pulled this repository, and that's why this container is running into your client machine. So this is the tag associated with this container. The image ID is this one, and created just 9 minutes ago, and size is 13.3 KB. So this is the repository where from we pulled this Docker container. Now to run this Docker container, we should use the command docker run. Okay, the docker run is the command to run this Docker containers. Okay, so how many Docker containers are running at this moment? We can get this information with this docker ps command. So you can see that there are no Docker containers is running at this moment, but some containers were running. So docker ps -a is the command to see how many containers are running at this moment. Okay, docker ps space -a. Okay, this is the active containers. We can see those active containers were running. So if you can see, there are no running containers at this moment, but docker ps command, there we can see that includes one have finished executing. Those have already finished execution. We can use this docker ps -a command. Okay, now we need to build our docker containers. How so we ran our docker containers. We saw how these docker containers are running, how many docker containers are running at this moment. Now to build our docker containers. Now to build our docker container, we are going to create some directories into our client. So this is the same as we write in DOS. These commands are same. So we created and I am now into this. So mkdir is actually creating a directory into our client system, and then with the cd test we move to that directory. Now this to create, we have to create a docker file over there, and this cat command, with the help of the cat command, we are going to create this docker file. And what this docker file actually contains, this docker file, if you go to this docker file, the first line is from node 6. So it is going to create an image from the node version 6, and work directory is app, and the current directory is everything which is coming from app is dot, and we are able to we are exposing our port 80. And now we are creating our node app.js into last line. Okay, so just I'm going to write this code with over there, and now we have created our app.js. Just you can copy these things, and every description is written over there in below that code. Am I audible? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
You're
ma'am.
audible.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you. Thank you. Now you since we have created our two files, docker file and app.js file. Now in the app.js file, that you can see that server status is 200, then the content will be there, hello world. Can you see? Then these things, whenever you will write the IP address of this one, then you will see that the page is showing you the hello world. Okay, you will see that this is app.js, the JS file we created. Okay, and now we are going to build this docker. So this is the docker build /t. /t is for tag, and node app is our container which we are going to create, and this is the version 0.1. This version we are going to create. Okay. So we built an image from a docker file. Okay, you get this instruction, this message that built an image from the docker file. We actually built an image from the docker file. Now this, how many docker images? Docker images, to see how many docker images are running at this moment. So earlier there were hello world and docker this docker images /p. So only one hello world is actually running at this moment. There should be some node app and node also. It's why it's not been built. Did I build this image? Let me check once again. No, I didn't build it. Yeah, now it is building. It takes some time to build. It's pulling the Node.js version 6 from the Docker hub and creating our image. Now run this Docker ps image command. So you will able to see that hello world, which you just we started with, is running at this moment. The Node app is running, and the Node version 6 is also running at this moment. Okay, we built our application. Now to how to run this build application. We built an application. So how to run this build application? So we just docker run /p 400 port, and we expose the port 80. So this mapping is done over here. 4000 is mapping with our port 80, and then name my app is the name of my our Docker container, and we are creating this app over there. So this server is running at this moment. Now open another terminal. You can create open 2 and 3 terminals like we do in Linux. We can open as many terminals as we want. Now run this curl command over there. So you can see the hello world is showing. So whatever we have written into this file, this app.js file, can you see? This is actually, we can see over here. The output is there, this one. Okay. Now if now we have created this Node app version 0.1. Now I am going to stop my container, my app. Okay, so docker stop is the command to stop our running container. So it should be done in the first terminal, not in this terminal. Okay, we stopped earlier from this part actually. Now if we do the docker ps, so it will show nothing. It is showing nothing since I stopped the container. So the 2 containers are running at this moment. You can do the see the logs with the docker log container ID. Likewise, you have to replace this container ID with your container ID over there. Mhm. You will be able to see the logs, hello, everything over there in the log file. And now if we move to the CD test, now now we are going to create another app file, and if I going to write some other things over there into that open your cloud editor. Because in this step what we are going to, I am going to change my content and going to create another container. Okay, so opening my cloud editor. Yes, so in this folder we have two files, we can see app.js and docker file, those we created with the cat command, right? In the app.js I'm going to just change this text. Welcome to cloud. Okay, now we are just going to build another node app and its version 2.0.2. Now move to the terminal. Okay, now going to build another container. Okay, now the same step then, but this time you will not see hello world, this will be another container. Okay, so this will be the command. I am not doing both the commands simultaneously. Okay, now if we will see if I do docker ps command, then you can see that your image this is running at this moment, though there I can see two images are running because I stopped earlier one. Now into another container I am going to run this curl command. So you can see just in the app file I changed, I created another container for that. I built that container and the output is different. Are you able to see? The previously it was things are going out of your head. Is this happening like this? What do you think? May I have some responses from your end? Hello, am I audible? Hello.
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Yeah. So if you find any difficulty, if you go through this lab and read out every instructions, then you will feel that that it's not that much difficult. Even you can understand better than me also, because everyone can think of in their ways. Okay, so just go through the lab and do according to the lab. Okay, so do I have time uh, from the Techno India team, can I
Yes, ma'am.
proceed with the lab?
Yes, ma'am. We have the time.
Yeah, okay, sir. Thank you for this. Now, what we are going to do, we are now going to debug our these containers. Okay, so we can see our logs. Even we can go to the bash. We can see how many files over there. So with the help of container ID, we can see our logs like docker logs /f container ID. Okay, so instead of container, I'm just going to use my notepad for this because copy and paste is very much impossible. I found it impossible. So I'm just going to copy it from there, and I'm just going to copy this container ID. These are the containers which is running at this moment. So this image ID, I'm going to take this image ID because this is now created 0.2 with the tag. I'm going to check the logs of this. So no such container is running at this moment. Either I have copied properly. Yes, 366. It's getting actually in Quick Labs, it is going away. Running container, it is showing me. Yes. Though it is running container, it is not showing the logs over there. And now we can actually go to the bash also to go to our root app directory. Okay, so with the help of why this, if I don't put this container ID, then we cannot able to go to the bash. Let me check with those. No, it is not the right way to write the container ID within the brackets, but let's see if it is happening or not. Mhm.
Hello.
There is some error in the container ID, which image ID I'm giving.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, yes.
मैम हम बोल रहे हैं कि जो 6 सेकंड आगे और है ना कंटेनर आईडी उसमें रन हो रहा है
वो
मेरा
6 सेकंड आगे का जो है उसमें रन हो रहा है।
हाँ
वो तब मेरा कुछ प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है शायद कंटेनर आईडी के साथ। ऐसा कुछ है क्या? कंटेनर आईडी यहाँ पर तो ये इमेज आईडी मैं दे रही हूँ एक्चुअली, शायद इसीलिए मेरा कंटेनर आईडी दिख भी नहीं रहा है यहाँ पर। रिपोजिटरी टैग इमेज आईडी क्रिएटेड एंड साइज, कंटेनर आईडी आपका दिख रहा है रिपोजिटरी के आगे?
हेलो मैम।
हाँ, कंटेनर आईडी दिख रहा है आपका?
Ma'am, it's after the Docker PS command.
After the Docker PS command.
No, ma'am. Yes. You can run this after that.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the container ID.
Yeah, that's the container ID. Yes. Yes, हम अभी बैश में है ls करेंगे तो हमारा वो दोनों फाइल दिखेगा docker
ma'am.
file and app.js file. Okay, so whatever we have written into these files, we can get these files from this root directory when we are going to the root bash file. Okay, now we need to debug our we have done up to this one. Now we need to push our things push our no, not there. We need to, we are in the bash now. Okay, so we can see things and we can come out from the bash from there, and then we can inspect our docker files of container id also over there, containers over there. Now if we exit from there, now we can use this inspect for inspecting our things. So the code you have written, you can see over there. You can inspect our code. Now you need to publish your container. Okay, so to publish these things, we need to gcloud config list project. So it will list the project you are working on right now. So this is your project name. At the earlier we have done this step. Now we need to put these things into our this node app to the registry. Okay, so we are just going to copy this and we are going to replace this project ID. Okay, now if you do the Docker images, so now you will see these many of container images are running at this moment. Now we are going to push this into GCR registry, Google Cloud registry. Okay. Just replace your project ID. It will take some time. Now to remove these Docker containers, we can use Docker stop and Docker rm to remove these containers. Okay. Is it done? Yes. Now we are going to remove this, stop this container, and even going to remove this. Okay. Now, since we have created some child containers also, we have to remove those also. Replace the project ID from there. What we have actually done, there are several steps actually there. So we have we actually remove these things from Docker registry with the project ID, and remove this node 6, and remove all the remaining images. And now if we are doing the when we are running this Docker images command, we will see that there is nothing. All the things get stopped and deleted. Okay. Now we are going to pull whatever we have pushed into the Docker registry, Google Cloud registry. Now we are going to pull these commands from there. Refused. No, we should. No, I didn't replace the project ID. Sorry. I'm going to pull this one. It may take some time. So I think I am the end of the quest. So after every quest, you will find that your score will getting increased. Okay. So you have to complete a particular quest. You need to get these scores completed, and when everything will be done, you have to check your progress. Then only you are going to earn. You can think of like that one particular quest is being completed. Okay. So after everything is done, okay, my failed to connect with port 400. So anybody is working also doing the quest simultaneously with me? So are you getting the output from this curl command? Because in my case, it's not getting connected.
Ma'am, hello, ma'am.
Yes.
To change the project ID.
Oh, I changed the project ID. I changed the project ID over there. Okay, I
Ma'am, in the
didn't
command
change over.
section.
We didn't. I didn't change it over here.
Yes, ma'am.
That's why. Yeah. Sorry. Yes. So we are done. So what we did, we created our Docker container. We pulled an image node.js. We created two different containers. we pushed our image into Google Cloud Registry, and then we pulled our image from the Google Cloud Registry. So this is about Docker only. Now there are other labs also related to this, like we have some Kubernetes engine quick start, orchestrating with cloud with Kubernetes. Like, since Kubernetes is a container orchestration platform, so how these containers are going to orchestrate over there within this cloud environment, you will find all these lab over there, and every step, every documentation is there into these labs. You can go through it, and if you find any difficulty, you can contact me or anyone else to do these labs. So uh, did you like the way these things are happening? Did you like the whole session? May I
Yes,
get
ma'am.
any feedback? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. It was amazing.
Okay, thank you. And so this is the thing about Docker Lab. After doing all these things, check your progress. Don't forget to do this. Okay, and your lab. Okay, this is the whole process. Write anything. Actually, I did give the stars and all this is it's done. Now we have some other labs also. So, but I don't think that we have that much time. But you can go to other labs there, and you can work with. Do these labs also over there. Every step is there. If you find any difficulty, you can contact with me. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Ma'am, I have one question.
Yes.
The link which you provided in the
Yes.
chat. So when I
Yes.
clicked over there, so it's asking to log in. Or when I click on join to enroll in this quest, so it's asking my details. So I have to enter those details, or uh, in the starting you just mentioned like we have to enter the
No,
Google.
no. You have to log in the Quick Labs with your Gmail account or any other account. You can sign up there, but the credits is going to give your DSC lead. I think uh, uh, you are going to give the credits, right, for Quick Labs.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Ma'am,
okay.
but like
Yeah.
the registration for the 30 days of Google Cloud program is over. So like she will not be getting it this time. Maybe some other session.
Okay, so if you find these kind of things, I'm there. You can, if you find these kind of sessions, and you if you want these credits, I'm there also. So apart from this 30 days challenge, I can also host this kind of things, and I can share credit with you all also if you need it near future somehow. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Since registration is over, right, Shohini?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It's
Okay,
over.
okay, okay. If you will told me earlier, then I can manage these Quick Labs credits also.
Okay,
uh,
ma'am. So we can organize something the next time and then we
okay,
can manage it.
okay.
Okay.
This can be done. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you feel like with these kind of things, I am there. But without credits, you cannot do these things. The labs, it's difficult for you to do these labs. Okay, so I'm feeling, I thought that I'm getting disconnected. Am I audible?
Okay. Yes, ma'am. You're audible.
Okay, you lost your internet connection. It's showing in my end.
Okay. Like so, guys, it's like 9 minutes to 10. So we have like 9 minutes left. So if you have any questions, you can ask it. And one more update that's like in this 30 days of Google Cloud program, if you face some difficulties while doing the labs, we will be holding some AMA sessions in the upcoming weeks. So, like one will be for the cloud engineering track, and another one will be for the data and ML track. So, on those AMA sessions, we will be focusing on the doubts from that particular track only. And if you have any doubt related to today's event, you can ask it, like post it in the chat box or unmute yourself and ask.
So, ma'am, one more question. Like now the registrations are closed. So, will I be able to perform in quick labs or not?
Okay, so ma'am has left. So Sachi, you
Yeah.
can do the quick labs thing, but for that the credits will be needed. So if we hold any further cloud study jam sessions, then you can join there. So code will be provided that will give you an unlimited access for 1 month most probably. So you can do it that time.
Okay.
मैम
Yeah.
ये मैम ये सर्टिफिकेट लेने के लिए ये क्वेस्ट लैब अलग करना पड़ेगा तब मिलेगा.
Yes. Like, did you register for the 30 days of Google Cloud program?
हाँ वो रजिस्टर कर दिए मैम.
Okay. And have you received the confirmation mail and the credits?
नो मैम क्रेडिट्स नहीं मिला अभी तक.
And the confirmation email?
कंफर्मेशन ईमेल मिल चुका है मैम.
Okay. So one more update that we have been informed by the Google Cloud team that every one of you will be receiving the mail and the credits as well by today night or tomorrow morning or afternoon. So like, yeah, keep an eye on your inbox so that you don't miss it. And one more thing, if you have given the wrong QuickLab's public profile, then you are automatically disqualified. One more mail has been sent to you, I guess, for the rectification of the URLs. If you have corrected your public profile, then it's all right. But if you haven't, then you missed the chance.
ओके मैम. मैम कल भी 6 बजे से क्लास होगा.
No, we will be holding the AMS sessions most probably in the next week, like next Saturday or Sunday. Are you in the community.dev platform, Krishav?
नो मैम.
Okay, wait. Okay, so I have sent a link in the chat box. So please join our chapter so that you can get updated to our events. So that when we hold the next AMA sessions, you can know about it and join it.
ओके मैम. तो नेक्स्ट सैटरडे क्लास होगा ये.
We have not fixed the date yet, Saturday or Sunday. Like whenever the event will be created, you will be getting the notification.
ओके मैम.
And okay, so now Sumitra ma'am is here. If you have any questions, you can ask her.
Hello, actually, I lost my internet connection for some time.
Okay, it's
Sorry,
all right,
guys.
ma'am. No problem.
And I'm just going to want to tell you that DevFest is on 16th and 16th October. So please go into this website and do register over there. I'm sure that you will find some interesting stuff and you will be updated technologically over there. And just copy this link and register over there. And our community link is since I am the facilitator of Google Cloud Kolkata, GDG Cloud Kolkata. So our new community link, since the things are moving from our meetups from the new GDG community platform. So the thing, our new platform is this one. You can do register over there. And if you want to ask any questions, you are welcome.
Saikat,
this
are you
is
here?
not- This is not the link, right link which I am giving you for registration to the GDG. I'm giving you the link for DevFest. Just be there. Just a moment, I'm giving you the link. Are you aware of this DevFest? India
yes, ma'am.
2020. Yeah, are you aware? Okay. Are you going to join over there?
Yes, ma'am. Already registered.
Okay. Nice to hear. So this is the link.
But this
sorry.
will be bad. The virtual thing.
This thing is very bad actually. I also feel because I took very less session in virtually because I don't feel I'm not
That
very
connection
much
is missing.
confused. Yeah, because the one-to-one connection is missing. First, the things is that the internet is very fluctuating over here because but just now it's things that during the lab it didn't happen. Just now I lost my internet connection.
Yeah.
So this is very unmanageable thing. So
Yeah.
so do register into devfestindia.com. Who has not
Sending the
registered yet?
link to the WhatsApp group also so that people can get access to it.
Yeah, because you will find some interesting stuff over there. After these three days, you will enjoy, you will find yourself been lifted. Okay, you will find new ideas. You will learn something new words, some new words. This is the thing we should actually have in our life. Okay,
Yes.
to enjoy the things. So you were the part of 2019 also, right, Shirley?
Yes, ma'am. 18, 19.
18, 19. Okay. So, do you have any questions?
Okay. Ma'am, like, are you asking me?
No. Any other others?
Guys, if you have any questions, please respond. Saket, you asked a question, right? Like, what is IAS or something?
Okay, infrastructure as a service, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this Google provides three kind of services like infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. So the software as a service is the service that we used as software directly for us. Infrastructure that we create our infrastructure like compute engine is can be in the Google Cloud platform. The compute engines are the infrastructure as a service, and we use these infrastructure to create other kind of products for us. Okay, so these are the IaaS. So these infrastructure we are using for creating and building our applications over there into the cloud platform. So if you go to any other cloud platform, you will find these three major parts: software as a service, infrastructure as a service, and platform as a service. So this is the infrastructure. We are using Google's infrastructure to build our products, right? So this is the infrastructure as a service. We are using those services for us. Am I right, Shahili?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay, so no more questions, I guess, and it's already 8. Okay, so if you haven't registered to community DSC TIU chapter, like in community.dev, please register. Like the link is already given so that you can stay updated to the events. And we are planning some cloud AMA sessions also. So you will be getting the notifications. Okay.
And please register into this GDG Cloud Kolkata chapter also. I shared the link with you, and please Shahili share these links with your registrant also with
Yes, ma'am, sure, I'll
mail
share
or
it.
whatever. I will share my slides with you and these links also, and the registration link with the DevFest India also.
Yeah, sure, ma'am. I'll be sharing it in the groups.
Okay. Be safe in this pandemic situation, and happy puja to you all. This
Same
puja
to you,
is coming.
ma'am.
Oh, same to you. Same to you
you,
all
madam.
also. Okay, thank you, and enjoy your day.